Welcome back to Star Wars Rebellion. We're continuing on, I guess, with the first turn. We're at episode 3 here, and we are into the refresh phase. And the refresh phase has to do, there's a whole bunch of steps in there. The first thing we need to do is retrieve the leaders and return them to the leader pool on our leaderboards. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll show you the Rebel Alliance and then the Galactic Empire, and then we'll get to the next step. Alright, so we've returned the leaders to the Rebel Alliance. So we've got Mon Mothma, Princess Leia, General Riken, and Jan Dudnadan. However you pronounce it, I know I'm murdering these names. Alright, we're going to go over to the Galactic Empire. We've retrieved our leaders. And next up in the phase is draw missions. So each player draws up to 2 mission cards and then discards down to 10. So we'll be doing that next. Alright, so I guess we'll stay over here for a bit. We are going to draw 2 new mission cards for the Rebels. Now, their objective card here does not count towards the 10 card hand limit. And currently they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're well within the 10 cards. Let's now go to the Galactic Empire. We're going to be doing the same thing. And of course, we've returned our leaders back to our playmat. So we've got Darth Vader, Palpatine, Tej, and Grand Moff Tarkin. So currently we're sitting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 missions. We did a lot of blocking this turn. We didn't do a lot of actual missions ourselves. But we get to draw 2 more. So let's see. We got 1, 2. Let's see what we get for our new missions. We have no glasses. All right. I should have them handy when I'm doing my filming. All right, we have trade negotiations. Take 2. Attempt in any populous system is, if successful, gain a loyalty in this system. Cool. We can turn a system to our to the Empire's will. Oh, we have another one. I guess there are duplicates in here. So we have 2 trade negotiation missions. We can only have Darth Vader or Palpatine attempt these because they're the only ones with 2 pips on them. Yeah, and then we have Overseer Project. We have construct the Super Star Destroyer, gather intel, rule by fear, capture rebel operative, research development. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9. We're going to have to start doing missions. We're going to have to start discarding. All right, that was draw new missions. Now we launch the probe droids. The Imperial player draws 2 probe cards. Alright, we are seeking the Rebel base. So we're going to take the probe deck here. We get to look at the top 2 cards. Now this will be hidden information to the Imperial, or the Rebel player, of course. So the Rebel player doesn't actually know which planets we know they're not on. So it gets interesting. But anyway, Alderaan. Alright, we don't need to blow up Alderaan. I mean, we could as a show of force. But apparently, the Rebel base is not on Alderaan, which is right here. So we don't need to worry about it. And it's not on Mon Calamari either. Alright, so the fish boys are not hiding the Rebel base way up here. So we know we don't need to spread out there unless we just want to, you know, be typical Empire and just take everything over. So we're going to keep these cards over in our area here. Let's keep them off to the side. So these are now planets we know the Rebel base is not on. Alright, next up in the refresh phase is draw objective. The Rebel player draws 1 objective card. Now these objective cards, like I say, do not count against their 10 card hand limit. Oh! They're going to draw 1 objective card. Of course, you are not going to see what it is. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool for them. Not so cool for the Empire. But we'll see if they try to pull anything fast on us. And then the last thing is advance the time marker. Then recruit and or build units based on the icons on the marker's space. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, this might be a little bit hard to see. We're going to advance time marker 1. Of course, if the 2 markers ever meet and we have not found and or destroyed all units or destroyed the Rebel planet base, we're going to lose the game as the Empire. We have the 2 symbols. We have the recruit symbol and we have the build symbol. So both the Rebel Alliance and the Empire are going to be recruiting characters and building units. So let's go ahead and do some recruiting first. Let's see who the Rebels are going to recruit. So you draw 2 cards from your respective recruitment deck, and you get to choose one of the leaders on the cards. So we're going to do that in secret for the rebel base, or the rebel player, you're just gonna see what their new leader is. So let's go ahead and do that first. Okay, so the new leader that the rebels have chosen to take is Landau Calrissian, and he has actually one of every symbol. He's got a 2 and a 2, so he's pretty good for moving troops around the board. So that's who they chose. All right, let's go over to the Empire. We get to pull the top 2 cards. Oh, and we're playing the base game, so we're not going to look at the special abilities of the cards. We're just going to discard the cards and just take the leader. When we play this again with using the expansion, we will then play with all of the advanced rules. So right now we're just sort of picking and choosing a bit. All right, let's go over to the Empire. Let's see. We have a choice of 2. Let's see who we get. All right, so we get to draw 2 off the top of our deck. 1, 2, and we're going to get to keep one of these leaders. Now, keeping in mind the special text is not going to be in effect. So we either have a choice of place a leader in any Imperial. Geez, I'm not sure who that looks like. Boba Fett. Is that Boba Fett? Wow. All right, or we have this dude, which I forget his name too. So again, the text is for advanced. You would keep the card. So let's go fish these 2 characters out of the box. We'll have a look at their stats and see which one we want to actually keep. Alrighty, so let's take a look. So it is indeed Boba Fett, and man, he has got 2 infiltration, 3 strength. Now he cannot activate a system for the purposes of moving ships and stuff, but man, is he good for doing missions that need strength and infiltration, or blocking missions that need strength or infiltration. So yeah, very good. And then we have General Veers, who is very good for ground combat, a couple of strength, and he can activate and move ships and units into systems. So I think, you know, how can we not have a Boba Fett? We're going to add Boba Fett into our pool, leader pool, right on. So now we have, and this guy then would just be discarded. All right, and we do now get to, I guess we should look at, we have a lot of missions here, not a lot of strength missions. We have Capture Rebel Operative. We can have Boba Fett try and capture one of the leaders this time. That's quite possible. And this guy's going away. All right, is that the end of the refresh? No, it's not. Now, so that was the end of recruiting. Now we need to build units. So we're gonna, each player is gonna place units on the build queue for each of their loyal and subjugated systems. So let's go ahead and do that. And then the last thing we're gonna do for the refresh phase is deploy units. So we're gonna go ahead and build. We'll start with the Rebel Alliance, see what they've got building up in the queue. Alright, so the first loyal rebel planet is Kashyyyk, and it's got 2 of these triangle orange symbols. So let's take a look at the Rebel Alliance board and see what that's going to build. And this is a number 1, so they're going to go in the number 1 spot of the build queue. So if we look here, we have the Rebel Trooper. He's the orange triangle. And we're going to get 2 of those, and they're going to go on the number 1 spot of the build queue for the Rebels. So we're going to get a couple of Rebel Troopers being geared up. So let's go ahead and put that on the number 1 spot of the build queue. And each player has their own build queue. I'm just going to use the bottom build queue for both because it's just, I have to stretch out to the other end of the board otherwise. So this is not how you're supposed to do it. This would be the Imperial build queue, but I'm going to just go ahead and put the Rebel units in here, as well as the Imperial ones. They're all going to come off the board and be put onto the board anyway. But yes, just keep in mind, this bottom half of the board is the Rebel build queue, or the Imperial build queue. At the top half of the board is the Imperial board build queue. It's because if you're a Rebel Imperial, you know what I mean, because you obviously be sitting across each other on the table, so that's, things are within easy reach. All right, let's see what else we have for the Rebels. I hope this is going to focus. The only other place we have in the build queue number 1 is Badawi. That's the only other Rebel loyal location. I put a little bead here just to designate that I've actually gone ahead and built the units, because otherwise I may forget as I'm filming. I'll take the beads off, of course, once we're finished building. So they have a round orange symbol. Let's go over to the Rebel Alliance board again and see what that is for the build queue. Alright, and taking a look this time, it looks like it's an air speeder. We get 1 air speeder, the round symbol. It's going to roll a black and red die. It has 2 red health. So go ahead and put that in the build queue. And here we go. So they have a couple of troopers and a snow speeder coming out. This, of course, is going to be deployed this turn, and now it's the Empire's turn, and we have a lot of planets. Subjugated planets, you'll use the far left icon, and loyal planets, you get to use all icons. So let's get going on our build queue for the Empire. Alright, first up in the build queue for us, we have, this is location 1 on the build queue, and it's a loyal Imperial planet. So we're going to put the bead on there. So let's take a look and see what the round orange symbol is for the Imperial Empire. Alright, so looking at the orange symbol, I guess the orange is ground units and the blue is air units, so or space units. Alright, so we're going to be building 1 ATST. So we're going to go ahead and put that in build queue, space number 1. And I kind of like sharing the build queue space because we're going to see just what we're building, Rebels versus Empire. And you'll see, I think the Empire has a lot more building capacity than the Rebels do. Alright, let's get to our next planet for the Imperials. Alright, here we are at Mandalore, and it is subjugated, so we do not get both symbols, we just get the single symbol on the left, far left side. That's the orange triangle. It's going to be in location 1. Let's see what that is. Ah, yes, the ever-sharp-shooting stormtroopers. So we're going to get 1 stormtrooper showing up on build queue 1. Alright, in goes a stormtrooper. Looks like a lot of units are popping out on the board this turn. Okay, we still have, how many more? We have 2 more subjugated worlds and 3 more loyal worlds. So let's get to it. Alright, we're going to pick off our 2 subjugated planets right off the bat. And easily done. We have Naboo, which we took over this turn. They are under the iron rule of the Empire. They're subjugated at the moment, so we can only use the left-hand symbol on space 1, and that is a stormtrooper. We just looked at that. And then we also have Celeste, if I'm saying it correctly, which I'm probably not. It is also subjugated. Now, taking a look at this, it is in location 2, so it's going to be a single stormtrooper in location 2. So build queue 2 and 1 are both going to get a stormtrooper. Alrighty, so build Q1 gets another stormtrooper, and now we have build Q2 with a stormtrooper. Alright, continuing on, we have a lot more to do yet. And here we are at the heart of the Empire. And it's interesting because Coruscant, you think, would be the heart of the Empire, would be building up a ton of stuff, but it looks like in build Q1 we're getting 1 stormtrooper. And that's it. Okay, so we're going to put the bead on there. Just want to, again, I want to make sure I get the beads in there so I don't miss a planet or do a planet twice. All right, 1 more stormtrooper in space 1. Yes, the Empire is cranking out the units. All right, there's another unit. We still have Corellia to go, as well as Corellia, and where's the other one? We'll find it here. Let's go to Corellia first. Alright, we have this nice, loyal Imperial planet, Corellia, and we're going to get some space units here in Q space number 3, so it's going to be a long ways off. We get a triangle and a square space unit. Let's see what that is. Ah, yes, we have a TIE fighter, a single TIE fighter, and we also have the square space unit, the Star Destroyer. Awesome stuff. So we're going to get a Star Destroyer and an X-Wing, and they are going to, or not X-Wing, a TIE Fighter, and they're going to show up in Q3. So look up, look way up. So we're going to have an Imperial Star Destroyer, whoops, and 3, as well as its little sidekick here, the TIE Fighter. So they'll be barreling their way down the queue. Awesome. All right, we still have 1 planet left, which is basically right here, so we can see it, Mustafar. It's another loyal planet, so we get both icons. So once again, I'm going to stick the bead on there. I think that's our last planet for construction. So we're going to get a TIE fighter and something else. So let's take a look. So we got a triangle, and this is in space 2. So they're going to show up in build Q2. All right, so it looks like in build Q2, we're going to get a TIE fighter. It's going to show up, and we're also going to get an assault carrier. Assault carriers are, they roll a black and red die. They can carry 4 units. They're pretty useful. So in build Q2, we're going to place those units. All right, build Q2 is going to get a, whoops, a TIE fighter, and it also gets a heavy assault carrier. All right, cool stuff. So that's our queue. So the very final stage, I guess you might be able to kind of read, is deploy the units. So starting with the rebel player, each unit's everything slides down one space. And any units that fall off the one space get deployed onto the board. You can deploy 2 units maximum per location that you own. Can be deployed into players' loyal or subjugated systems, or the base, the rebel base. So let's go ahead and see what... so the rebels basically have 2 troopers and a snow speeder. Now let's find out where they want to put that out on the board. Alright, the rebels don't have a heck of a lot of units, but on Kashyyyk they're going to put down a snow speeder and 1 rebel trooper. I guess they're trying to defend Kashyyyk. It is loyal to the rebels. And the last one, I think, where are they going to place it? Let's find out. I'm going to put a bead here too. So I remember that on the planet we have placed 2 units, so I don't place more there. It's not going to happen. Maybe in the later game it will become more useful for the beads, but right now I'm just going to place it down so I don't forget that I've also already placed units there. Alright, the last rebel player unit is just 1 rebel trooper. Let's see where they want to put that. Alright, the last rebel trooper, they will throw into their hidden rebel base, so they're training up some units. So now there's 2, 4, 6, there's 7 units there. I guess that's strategic, because if they have 8, and we use our mission infiltrate, or gather intel, we'd get to draw 2 probe deck cards, but we're only going to be able to draw 1 if we do that mission, because there is not 8 units there are only 7, if that makes sense. For every 4 units, you get to draw 1 probe card. Alright, it is time now for the Empire to slide everything down the build queue. Alright, so for the Empire, we're going to have 3 troopers and ATST to be deployed out on the map somewhere. Our heavy transport, a trooper and an X-Wing are sliding down to Q2, and the Star Destroyer and the TIE Fighter have made it now to Q space 2. Alright, we have 3 troopers and ATST we can place out on the board. Let's get to it. Alright, we almost had a rebel uprising here at a subjugated planet. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to take at least 1 trooper. We're going to take, actually, yeah, we're going to take 2 troopers actually and place them in Solus. That's our maximum deployment there. And let's see what else we want to do. We have an ATST and a trooper remaining. Alright, and up in Naboo, which we've also subjugated, we're going to put an ATST, and we're going to put our 2nd rebel trooper. So that's 2 units there. And that's all the units we have that we can deploy at the moment. Now this, Naboo is a loyal planet to the rebels, but we have it subjugated, so they can't use it to build. We know the rebel base isn't there, obviously, because we've landed on it, searched the entire place. And that is the end of deployment. So I'm going to zoom out. We're going to wrap up our episode for today. That was the refresh phase. Took a while. So we will get back into some more gameplay in the next episode. But I'm going to zoom out. We're going to wrap up. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with our progress as the Empire. We now have Boba Fett on our side. We have a lot of missions now. We have lots of these trade negotiations. Attempting population, gain a loyalty. We might want to at least attempt one of these missions. Oversee the project. I really like this one. Resolving any system that contains an Imperial unit and no Rebel units, which are actually quite a few now. Choose one Imperial unit on space 1 or 2 of the build queue and deploy it to the system. We have a Star Destroyer on 1. We could deploy it to that system if we have that happen. We also have to construct the Super Star Destroyer Imperial system, and it's just resolve. So this is also resolve, so it can happen. We can bring out a Star Destroyer. Very, very cool. I love this. We have Gather Intel. We might want to do that with Boba Fett or Palpatine. I don't know. Rule by Fear I also like. Successful gain of loyalty in the system. Capture an operative too might be nice. We might want to capture maybe Mon Mothma or Princess Leia. Take them out of the game for a while. And we can have Boba Fett do this one because he has an awful lot of strength in it. And the Rebels don't have a lot of strength to oppose that at all. So that would be pretty good. Research, development, and display. I like display of power. We might want to do this too. I don't know. Lots of things for us to do next time. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, and likes. This is Star Wars Rebellion. We're playing as the Empire. We're going to crush the Rebels. If we can find their pesky little base, we can either blow it up with the Death Star, or we can just send in a whole ton of units and just crush them. So thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Yeah, this is Star Wars Rebellion. Quite liking it. It's a very fun cat and mouse kind of game. We're trying to figure out where the rebel base is. A fantastic two-player game. Highly, highly suggested if you can play it. And yes, I have the little fish tank beads out here to designate where the rebel base is not. So join me next time, and we're going to be getting into, of course, the assignment phase at the beginning of the next episode. So we'll see you then. Hopefully, like I said, sooner rather than later. I'm trying to get these episodes out as quickly as I can, but I'm extremely busy at work and other things. So thanks so much, and we'll see you for the next episode of Star Wars Rebellion.